We'll ask for Michelle Martin. Please state your name and address for the record.
Michelle Martin, and for the record, I think it's a violation to ask for my address. Although I did just move to Bradenton, that's really not something that everybody needs to know about my address. So there's a lot going on, as we all know, in the cultural war around drag shows and what's okay for kids and their exposure. So you guys are going to be having to deal with those situations, and so I'm calling on you today to hopefully use your intellect and your critical thinking rather than being persuaded by what's politically correct. So judging by the age of everybody here, we all understand consequences. And if you ever had any children, you would say of a 12-year-old or an 11-year-old daughter, if there was a 19-year-old boy who was talking with her and speaking with her, you'd want to nip that in the bud early and not endorse their relationship over and over until it got to the point where, you know, she was in love and there was a relationship established, because it's just inappropriate. And as adults, you would need to say, you're just not ready for that yet, so I'm going to put a little barrier there until I think that you're mature enough to handle that. In the same way the state has made that their position in terms of alcohol, in terms of going to strip shows, in terms of other things that are kind of adult themes, because kids don't need to be exposed to those themes that early, even if their parents want them to be exposed to those themes that early. We don't allow parents to give their kids alcohol. We don't allow parents to bring their kids to strip shows. It's just not appropriate, because that's not the kind of adults we want in society, right? So we have now this opportunity for you guys to make a statement about Manatee Pride bringing in a adult male drag queen, calling it family friendly so that this male can perform to children. And while this might be a politically sensitive subject, it's really not something that ought to be a sensitive subject. It really should be a clear issue. Kids don't belong watching adults gyrate sexually. It's really kind of clear whether they're dressed up like clowns, whether they're wrapped in rainbows, or whether they're, you know, adult women performing as women. It doesn't really matter. Adult children shouldn't be exposed to this, and certainly not endorsed by the city. So just as one little aside, the people who are endorsing this, bringing it to the city, is called Also Youth. And I just want you to know that they just were removed from the county for a display that honored a man who's a pedophile. He would bring kids in and experiment sexually on them as scientific study. Thankfully, the county commissioners removed that because they knew that that was inappropriate to honor somebody like that. And I'm asking Binghamton, that's where I'm from, Bradenton, to follow suit and say, that's not going to happen on city grounds.
Thank you. Deanna Brinkley. You state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Deanna Brinkley, and I also ditto everything that Michelle Martin just said. I don't care what people do behind their closed doors, and I don't care what kind of sexual relations people have as adults. That is their business. But we're talking about children, young children, and minors, which is 18 years and younger. Yes, to go to a strip club or a sex store, you have to be 21 years or older. So to have this out in the open, in public, I would think is probably illegal. I don't know if you guys, should be crossing that barrier. I do understand that this is the 8th year that they have done this. We all didn't really pay attention to things like this in the past, but now it's become almost a pandemic that we have to rescue these children from these people who think that this is appropriate. I hope that Manatee County and the city of Bradenton does not become a national story with this, like some of these other counties have. We know that DeSantis is cracking down on drag shows, so you could be the next target. Also, I'm surprised that nobody returns the emails. I think that's very unprofessional. When people have a question, I think it should be addressed by the council members on an issue that is very strong to the community. But we need to know where you guys stand on this. Just like Jennifer Wayman said, you know, this has to do with how you get reelected and how you operate in your city for the people that live here. So I hope that you guys can understand that this is inappropriate. They can have the parade. I mean, that is fine. But when you cross the line, having, yes, trans and these shows coming into young children is very, very inappropriate. So I hope you guys can do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Jack Bay? Good morning. Please state your name and address for the record.
Absolutely. Jack May, 8811 46 Ave West, 34210. I'm the president of a group called Manatee Patriots, formerly known as Tea Party Manatee. Maybe some of y'all are familiar with it. I also represent a contingent of 1,200 voters. A lot of people think we're just a small little organization that meets every Tuesday night out at Mixon Fruit Farms. I'm sorry, that was a shameful plug. But we are a conservative group, not to be concerned or not to be put with necessarily, I'm called a Republican group a lot, and we're not. What I want to talk about is the Manatee Pride Festival. Understand this is the 8th outing, and my concern is that things don't get out of hand. We know that in Pinellas County they have had several years of a similar type situation. We know last year that I think it got out of hand. So I'm concerned about the content. You've got a group called Hovercar. Now their last big gig was Free Abortion on Demand Without Apology concert in Tampa. So we're seeing that the content is extremely adult. The Brittany Zeff and crew, her lyrics are extremely adult. Mama Ashley Rose. Now, Mama Ashley Rose purports that she is a 501c3 and gives money to charities. The charities that they enjoy the most are several LGBT youth camps. So the charity, the money that they're raising is not for the city of Bradenton and any of its activities or helps. It's not for Manatee County. It is concerned with what we call grooming. Now, I apologize that I haven't paid attention to this in the past, but it's become so in your face and so moving to conservatives in your city that we have great concerns about the method and means by which such programs are approved. Have you looked? Do you know? Can anyone tell me the lyrics that Hovercar sings? See, we talk about the drag queens, and that's an obvious issue that children who like say, whether their parents want them to see adult things or not, there's a lot of adult things that parents expose their children to that are against the law. We have statutes. We have laws. We're a nation of laws. We're a city of laws. We're a county of laws. I understand, though, that oftentimes it's not so much that we're a nation of laws, but we're a nation of political will. And I hope that you use that political will to do right.
Next would be Catherine, is it Harrison? Hanson? Okay. Thank you. It looked like RR, not an N, so sorry. Please state your name and address for the record.
Okay, Catherine Hanson, 1806 19th Avenue West, Bradenton. I'm here to discuss, and I sent out emails to everybody concerning the drag queen show. I support what's been previously said. But my concerns would be is that this has been billed as a family-friendly event, and that the Performers Foundation is a mission to provide a safe and friendly, family-friendly atmosphere for all. So my question for you, and I'll hopefully we'll hear it after we're all done, is at what point does this cross the line of being family-friendly? I know that individual opinions may vary, and I respect those. I have concerns about the venue. Shows that are not appropriate are not appropriate for open, taxpayer-funded public properties that are easily accessible by all ages, including children. Protection of the children is another concern. I know that as a nation, we are facing social and political issues which are controversial with children's programs, and one of those is drag queens. Components of these shows have been associated with sexual grooming and destruction of children's innocence. Children are not props for political or social agendas. Several states, recently I believe it's been Tennessee, has passed laws, or states like Florida have proposals in the works to address such issues. If the performance is allowed to proceed, will there be sufficient law enforcement not only for the safety of everybody, but also to monitor for violations of child protective statutes that are already in place? Florida law in pornography and harmful on minor statute is 847.001 and 847.02. And it's a lot of legal stuff, so I really can't interpret it well for you guys. The other thing too is being that it's been up front in a lot of conservative sites online, and PragerU was one, and I would encourage you for PragerU.com. There are several issues, several broadcasts, I would say, that they address the drag queen shows. One of them was a drag queen show at the LA Zoo. I know we're not California, but it seems like we're getting there, where it shows what I would describe as burlesque type shows and simulation of burlesque style stripping. Also in that video was also kids that were going up with tip money. Yeah, and so I thank you for your time. Wow, that went quick. Thank you.
All right, I have,
Jennifer Wayman, Precinct 117. I'd like to make a comment on the parade, the Pride Parade, which I don't have a problem with. I do have a problem with a drag show going on at that. I do not think that's age appropriate. I think that's going a bit too far. When I was growing up, you had to be at least 21 to get to see those sort of things. I don't want to see the city of Bradenton getting involved in drag shows. And I'd like to know who approves that. Is that you guys that approve that? I'd like to know for re-election. I'd like to let everyone know who's approving drag shows. That's my 3 minutes. So is that you guys?